get this out the way. But so today, the topic is going to be about the miseducation of the Black Mason. And I say that because a lot of African American Masons, uh, they don't do a lot of reading and research. And I'm not going to say all, I said some, quite a few, as a matter of fact, like to have, they're misinformed, they're miseducated. That's true. Um, if I'm wrong about something, I don't mind saying I'm wrong, but I can tell you this from what I know and I've talked to and I've seen for myself uphand, that a lot of them are misinformed and miseducated, period. Take, for instance, a brother whose Grand Lodge title at the end may say Ancient Free and Accepted Masons. A lot of my Masonic brothers may say, oh, well, you're Scottish Rite. And that's incorrect. If the marquee is Ancient Free and Accepted Mason, that doesn't make you Scottish Rite at all. Not at all. That's just the marquee. That means that you practice the ancient customs of Freemasonry. It doesn't mean that you are ancient free and accept the Scottish Rite Freemason. It doesn't mean that. The only way that you can become a Scottish Rite Mason is that you go into the Scottish Rite degrees of Freemasonry. That's it. So for those brothers who say that, oh, I'm ancient free and accepted, I'm Scottish Rite, you're not, unless you have taken on those obligations and degrees from that appending side of Freemasonry, which is the ancient accepted Scottish Rite side. So, greetings everybody who's coming in. I certainly appreciate you. I wish you well, and I thank you for joining me on this day, from the West Coast to the East Coast, wherever you may be at right now. I want to just say how much I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. What's up, Fred, Vincent, Mike? What's up, Mac? What's up, Mac? What's up, Kevin? Hope that you guys are having a great day. So just so you can have a better understanding in regards to Freemasonry and what we have to do to make sure those who are in our jurisdiction and our lodges are better equipped to talk about Freemasonry, is to have study sessions with them and to have individuals who are in charge of your Masonic education. So those brothers who are traveling will know and how to carry themselves as such. What's up, Brother Vincent? How you doing? And I don't think that usually happens a lot of time. I don't believe it happens because of the concept. Let me tell you this here. So I have a Masonic brother who's on travel right now. He's in North Carolina. His grandmother passed away, who is a member of Prince Hall jurisdiction there in North Carolina. I don't know exactly which town that they're in right now, but I can get that information. I don't mind posting it as long as he gives me permission. Well, anyway, Brother Byers, who's a member of this jurisdiction, goes there on behalf of his grandmother who's passed away, and she asked that he speaks at her funeral. And she wanted him to be regaled when he spoke. And this just happened yesterday. So he goes, he's dressed, and he's meeting people, and they're dapping him up. What's up, brother? They dapping him up. I mean, boom, boom, boom. They're dapping him up. So one of the older brothers asked me, he said, what jurisdiction are you in? He said, well, I'm from California. I'm a member of John G. Jones Grand Lodge, California, True Kinsman Lodge #1 out of Vegas. That's my jurisdiction. He was like, oh. He said, when he said that, the attitude switched. Boom. Nobody really wanted to have talk to him. And he said, wow. He said he brushed it aside. He said, so he went on to do as his grandmother requested. Now, mind you, his grandmother asked that he speak at her funeral, in her wake. And I was like, oh, okay, with permission of the Grand Master of State from John G. Jones, you go ahead and you do as requested by your grandmother. She didn't ask her lodge to speak. So after they got done with the OES burial, or before, it was either one, he goes up and he speaks. He he did the damn thing, and I commend him for doing a great job. My brother did the thing. And so not only did he speak at the wake, he spoke at the funeral, fully regaled. And although some of the brothers from that jurisdiction did not like the fact that he was given that privilege to speak, you must understand, brothers of the craft and sisters of the order, upon the family member who's passing away, they can request a person from another jurisdiction to do their ritualistic burial. They can do that. They can request a person to partake in that burial. It goes back even in my own jurisdiction. A brother Grand Master, the family requested that this Grand Master from another jurisdiction do the Masonic burial. Do we get upset? No. It was of his request. And we was right there with him. So this is how you supposed to carry yourself, brothers and sisters. When a family member requests that someone do or partake in their Masonic or ritualistic homegoing as a member of the Order of the Eastern Star, you're supposed to greet them with open arms. That's how you're supposed to do it. But the miseducational fact is that you get upset. That's not being educated enough on how this thing works. And we need to come out of that. And another thing, while we're talking about miseducation, people often talk about, in my lodge, we only got the Holy Bible. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it at all. However, truly, it varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. It is the VSL, the volume of sacred law. Well, why would you say that, Brother Hawkins? Why would you say the volume of sacred law instead of saying the Holy Bible? The volume of sacred law is clearly to say that that person who's now before the altar of Freemasonry clearly has an obligation to himself and his faith, for which he brings with him when he enters Freemasonry. He doesn't leave that behind. Let's have a clear understanding. A brother, when he comes and joins Freemasonry, does not leave his faith at the door. He does not. He comes in with it. Okay? You can put that any way you want to, but he comes in with it. So it's the volume of sacred law that is placed upon the altar where he takes his obligation. What's up? That's what he does. And as a brother proceeds in these degrees, we find that the information that he's going to receive, or even as a sister perceive in their chapter degree work, the information that they're going to receive have to be information that's going to enlighten them in regards to the respect of the organization and respect to the society. When you have no respect for other jurisdictions, it just shows you your lack of knowledge and understanding. That's what it does. I'm going to say this again. When you have no respect for other Masonic jurisdictions, it shows a lack of education within Freemasonry. That's totally what it does. Because a lot of brothers like to base what they do in their jurisdiction to everybody else, and it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. What you do in your jurisdiction works for you. What somebody else does in theirs works for them. It doesn't say that it's right or wrong. But what it says is that you, as a Mason, when visiting other Masonic jurisdictions, you have to respect the way they do their work, even if it's not the way you do yours. In other words, if you don't have to visit, you don't have to go. You just say, I decline, brother, and be done with it. You don't have to go. I remember my first time traveling after I became a Master Mason, and I went to a Masonic lodge, and I was asked to enter a certain way, and I did, which was, they was like, wow, you're okay. He's walking in and on faith. Absolutely. And I did that, and the brothers asked me to approach the altar, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh, this is cloudy. I think I said this before. It was cloudy. And he looked at me, he was like, well, really? So he called up the senior deacon. The senior deacon goes to check, and he's like, no, it's clear, wishful. And what I had to learn is that no matter where the Bible is open, it's the compass and square dictates what dictates what degree you're on. Hear me clearly. No matter what lodge you go to or who you're visiting, The compass and square dictates to you what degree they on. Period. That's a fact. And until you have traveled outside of this country, until you have traveled in various other Masonic circles and jurisdictions, you're going to always be short on a better understanding of Freemasonry. Let's take, for instance, in 1928 or 1925, somewhere in that time zone, the Grand Lodge of England said that in order for you or your jurisdiction to be recognized by them, they clearly said that you must have been formed by 3 lodges and installed by a sitting Grand Master of another jurisdiction, blah, blah, blah. Gratitude by points on the compass, yeah. So a lot of brothers took that and ran with it. But they said this, if you go back and read it, in order to be recognized by them, this was the requirement. And a lot of us take on their requirements in order to have recognition, and that's not true. Recognition is based upon 2 Masonic jurisdictions agreeing that they're going to abide by a particular set of rules that they both agree to. And they both, and these rules are which governs them, and you move forward from there. That's what recognition is all about. I'm recognized. Well, that's because both of those jurisdictions that have mutual recognition with each other, they both say this is how we operate. You almost dead heat in how we do business. We do business like you do business. Simple as that. And it's not going to always fit that way. It's not going to always fit that way. That's why the Grand Lodge of England doesn't recognize everyone. That's why John G. Jones Grand Lodge, we have recognition, but we don't recognize everybody. We have Grand Lodges that we know of that we don't have Masonic recognition with because that's our choice. But we have Masonic fellowship. That means to say that we will communicate, we will talk, we do all those things. Period. But there's no disrespect in who they are. We're not saying that they're wrong in what they do. We just don't do what you do. If you have a co-ed Masonic lodge and that's not something we into, it's no disrespect. That's what you do. We totally respect you for what you do. That's on you. But in most cases, in some jurisdictions, they would say, well, you're clandestine, you're this and you're that. And that's not true. You're just totally miseducated because female Freemasons have always been around. Always been around. The ideal is that in the United States, we have frowned upon that. And when I say we, I'm just talking about Masonic Grand Lodges in general. Not one particular, but in general, Masonry in the United States have always frowned upon female Freemasonry. Always. So that's what you get. Well, they're clandestine because they got a male and females in lodge. It's called co-ed Freemasonry. It has always existed. It just hasn't existed here in the United States as it has existed long ago and continue to exist overseas. This is why it's important for you, brothers, to keep reading and keep building relationships with other brothers outside of your own jurisdiction. You'll learn so much more. You will learn so much more, and it's not, and then I say that because the way we do things in my jurisdiction is not necessarily the way other people do them. And they can't say that I'm wrong in the way I do my work. And I can't say that they're wrong. It's not even complicated. But what makes it complicated is for those who don't go read, those who don't educate themselves in regards to Freemasonry and how broad it is and how big it is. And when you don't do that, then you lack the understanding of traveling as a Mason. You like that. You totally like that understanding. You have no clue. I remember a brother who came to visit my lodge, and he had, what was that? He was from Ireland. The brother was from Ireland. And granted, I had never at that time seen a brother dress such a way. We was always black suit and bow tie, white shirt, black shoes. But when this brother came to visit, he had the little kirks with the sash and the little knife in the sock with the shoes and everything, and he was just different. Did we? No, that's how they do it in in their jurisdiction. That's how they do it where they're at. Who was I to say that that's incorrect? We welcomed that brother in, told him to have a seat, and we had a great lodge meeting. He signed in. This is who I am. Blah blah blah. He got checked by the Tyler, and we had a great fellowship with us. Kevin, what's up? You also have coded Freemasonry in France. Oh, okay. Yeah. Some of the female Masons drive deeper in Oh man, you brother Joshua, you are so right. I have to stop just for a minute and absolutely agree with you on the mere fact of female Freemasons and how more in tune they are with, they are more in tune with the esoteric side of Freemasonry than most male Masons would ever be. That's who they are. They are definitely more in tune. And brother, man, it's a different vibe in their Masonic lodge. It is. I've been to a female Masonic installation. It was a public installation I went to see for myself. And I can tell you this from firsthand experience, it's a different vibe and compared to what I've seen and visit within the Masonic fraternity amongst the brotherhood. This is why even in my own jurisdiction, we had to change up some things in order to be more in tune with who we say we are. If you say that you are of the ancient, free, and accepted Mason, well, what makes you ancient, free, and accepted? What makes you that? How does that coincide with your practice of Freemasonry? So what we did in our jurisdiction, we said, okay, we're going to practice the ancient customs of Freemasonry. So we had to go back and codify and look and say, this is what the ancient customs are in Freemasonry to us. And when we did that solidified, okay, this is our practice. We're just not saying that we're ancient free. We're practicing the customs of ancient free and accepted Masons. Period. You know, and it goes on to show you a lot of brothers of the craft like to bring up Anderson Constitution. As I've said before in some of my other podcasts, I've said ancient Anderson Constitution was meant for Anderson and that jurisdiction. It's their constitution. But a lot of brothers of the craft love to go run to that and say, look what Anderson's Constitution said. It's one of the oldest constitutions, yeah, but it's not your constitution unless you adopt that constitution to govern your jurisdiction. Unless you adopt that same constitution to govern your jurisdiction, it has nothing to do with you at all. Now, I'm going to tell you, it took me some time to get a better understanding of that. What does Anderson Constitution have to do with me? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It wasn't even meant for me. So I can't claim Anderson Constitution, but I can say to a brother of the craft, go read Anderson Constitution. It has some good things in there. But this is our jurisdiction constitution. This is our jurisdiction bylaws. This is what governs us. Anderson Constitution does not govern us. We may look at it and use it as a reference at times, but it doesn't govern us. Just as Mackey's jurisprudence. A lot of people like to say, well, you know, if you ain't following the 24 landmarks in Masonry or the 25 landmarks, you ain't this and you ain't that. That's incorrect. It's totally incorrect. Let me remind you, a lot of what we call mainstream Grand Lodges, they don't even go by the 24 or 25 landmarks. They picked which landmarks they're going to use for their jurisdiction. And some of them use none of them. Some of them use none of them. And some use, you know, they pick what they use. And that's who they are. They don't go around saying, if you don't do this or if you don't do that, man, this is who we are. You can accept that or let it alone. That's how they get down. And I'm saying to my brothers of the craft, my African American brothers of the craft, regardless of your jurisdiction, in my own humble opinion, this is what you're going to have to do. When you look at your constitutional bylaws, that structures your jurisdiction, regardless of what anybody else says, this is your structure. This is how you operate. And it's not to say who has the right to say that it's wrong. Who has that right? There's no. Yeah, there is a Masonic police around. But anyway, there is no Masonic entity that says that you can't do this for your jurisdiction. There's none at all. None. This is why it's important for you as brothers of the craft, including the sisters of the order, to make sure that you have these things in writing. You know, what I found in Mackey's jurisprudence is that there's no restraints for a Grand Master. There is no restraints for a Grand Master. The only restraints that I found for a Grand Master is within his constitution of his Grand Lodge. Those are the things that restrains a Grand Master. If you tell a Grand Master, well, we're going to use Mackey's jurisprudence to govern our jurisdiction. Mackey's jurisprudence has no restraints against the powers of a Grand Master. He can be abusive as he wants, and you have no recourse. That's a fact. You know, and I would say this to some jurisdictions. The reason you don't survive very long is because of your Grand Master and his abuse of power. You know, I would say this we dealt with that situation in my jurisdiction, so we put in things in amendments to our constitution and our bylaws that will restrain the Grand Master, because the Grand Master at times he gets power drunk, and it's not like when I say power, that means he goes beyond his duties as a Grand Master. And then they talk about unwritten laws. Unwritten laws, man, come on. That just gives a person an opportunity to be abusive and do whatever he wants to do. That's plain and simple. It is just that simple. Greetings, Joshua. What's going on? Kevin, how you doing? Brother Walker, what's going on with you? I appreciate you. Charles, what's going on with you? Greetings, big bruh. It's been a while. Yeah, it has been a while. It's always good to see you pop up. You know, so we have to begin to become more educated with Freemasonry and not be so dogmatic as if to say that if it's not done in my jurisdiction, it's incorrect. It's not done at all. It's not right. And that is so wrong. What's up, Rob? How you doing, man? Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, John Teller, what's going on with you? Just sending a big shout out to everybody who's on right now. We're just talking about the miseducation of African American Masons, and that's because they think that their jurisdiction is the only jurisdiction. They believe that if it's not done in my jurisdiction this way, it is incorrect. And that's not necessarily true. As a matter of fact, that is an outright lie. It is an outright lie. And this is the encouragement I want you to do, brothers. I want you to travel beyond your own jurisdiction so you can see and know for yourself, and stop relying and depending on somebody to be your study guide. You are my study guide. No, you go and study for yourself. That's what you do. I'm finna move to Cali and join. Okay, if you say so. If you say so. Turning the stove oven ablaze. What's up? How you doing? Brother Tony, give them their books back. Which books? Which books? Oh, I lost for a minute and reconnected. But yeah, most definitely, Tony, give them their books back. Oh, my goodness. So look, I want to just say thank you for tuning in today. I got to head back in real quick. You know, my little time is up, but it's been fun. I'm gonna be doing me some traveling here real soon, you know, and I'm looking forward to it. I would say this for those of you who don't know, my jurisdiction has just been recognized, and we've just signed amenities with the Grand Lodge, Brazil. And it's awesome. I like it. I enjoy it. You know, the mere fact that we have agreed for amenity and visitation. This COVID thing got everything on lock, but who knows? You better be coming to North Carolina. I'm going back east, though. I'm going back east. I'm not saying where right now, but I'm headed back east. But definitely, I'm looking forward to the travels here real soon.
Peace, be well. God bless each of you as you travel.